I brought Richard on. I am the president of the United Inventors Association, and even though I like whenever I get a chance to speak, I thought today I would bring on equally a parallel association that is very, very well respected within the academic community and mostly in the college section. And it is the National Academy of Inventors, based out of University of South Florida here in just outside of Tampa. And Richard is a special assistant to innovation at the National Academy.
Well,
that's great. Great, Richard. How you doing? I did a little intro for you earlier.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Carmine. And thank you, Carmine, for this opportunity to talk about the National Academy of Inventors. However, I do wear two hats here in a way, because before I joined the National Academy of Inventors, I was at the United States Patent and Trademark Office for 25 years as the Director of Public Affairs and Associate Commissioner for Patents. And always a big part of my portfolio was educational outreach. And so this is something that I love, and I always loved working with the independent inventors. And one of the things over the years, all of my interactions with some of the greatest living American inventors, there was one common thread. They all talked about when they were like 10 years old, some cases younger, where they couldn't keep their hands off things. Well, how does this work? Steve Wozniak loves to tell that story. Of course, the inventor of the laptop computer, and the other person who, wonderful guy who was invented the electric microphone, which is the most widely used microphone in the world. We're using it now, but how he used to drive his grandfather crazy because he couldn't stop taking things apart. Well, how does this work, and can I put it back together? So it really, that gene, whatever it is, starts at a very early age. And that's why it's great to have organizations like this that help encourage those people, those young kids, to go on and pursue their natural inclinations. So anyway, that's great. Now, the organization that I'm with now, the National Academy of Inventors, which is 10 years old, represents and recognizes the inventions of researchers and innovators associated with universities, nonprofit research institutions, and government agencies. And we induct fellows of the Academy every year. And we are in close partnership now with the United States Patent and Trademark Office, because inventor recognition is something that the office always was keenly concerned about. And so when the Academy came along, and it was the brainchild of Dr. Paul Sandberg, who was the founder and the head of our organization, it really, from the Patent Office perspective, it sort of filled in, because we always had people who were corporate inventors and their representatives. We always had people that were, of course, our wonderful independent inventor community, but inventors associated with universities make major contributions every year to American society. So it was great when Dr. Sandberg came up with this idea, and that's why moving forward, we have a great partnership with the USPTO. Two things that we do that right now are really targeted more towards college age students, but they have the potential, I think, particularly when you get into middle school and junior high into high school, have a potential to be helpful and supportive to young inventors. One is our curriculum program, which we just launched back in March in association with the Michelson Institute. It is there are 13 modules involved in the curriculum, and they deal with the basics about patents, trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets, what their history is, and why they are important. And people can take this course now by going to our website, academyofinventors.org. And those who complete it at their own pace can then take a final exam and receive an innovation development certificate and badge, which is an important credential going forward in terms of their career. Now, the thing that I would say is my understanding we have some teachers with us today for this session. And I would suggest that they go and take a look at that. It certainly could be adapted for your needs. There's no reason why, by the way. It's out there for the public. Anybody can do it. So any student, including the young lady with her lizard. I must say I've never followed a lizard before. I'm used to these Zoom meetings. My colleagues, they have their dogs. One's got a parrot and all. It's the first time I've seen a lizard in one of these. But seriously, there's no reason why she couldn't go on there, and she'll certainly learn more about, you know, intellectual property and why it's important, why it's the engine that really has always driven innovation in America. And of course, we've always been a very unique country in that regard. We were the only country in the world who provided in its constitution for an intellectual property protection system where people could, and it's one of the great deals of American history, we'll give you limited exclusive right to your creation. In exchange for that, you've got to make it public to everybody. So that will help people. They can build on your innovation. So it's been a great success, and one of the reasons why we've always had our innovations business, an important part of American society and a key role in maintaining our technological edge in our global economy. And that is why at the Patent and Trademark Office, we're always interested in the young inventors. How do we nurture them and help them, you know, going forward? And so I guess my message today is to go to the academyofinventors.org and learn more about our curriculum. And the second program we have is a Global Academic Information Network, which connects students who are doing research with our fellows throughout the world, with some of the greatest inventors, living inventors in the world today, to provide mentoring for them about, you know, their careers or the research that they're doing. And again, while that is targeted to an older group, obviously, I do think that there are some people in my experience with working with young inventor groups, there are people that are really serious about this by the time they get to high school. So it's not too soon. So there's certainly a possibility of accessing that and making use of that as well.
Richard, say that
and
you're speaking quickly. The global, just say it one more time. The
Global Academic Information Network, GAIN. It's called GAIN. And if you go to the academyinventors.org, it's very prominent on the homepage of our website, both of those key programs we do, the IP curriculum and the GAIN program.
Thank you.
And we're looking at, we're about to enter into an agreement with the United States Patent and Trademark Office, I think, to build on and expand that program and make it more widely available, particularly to the kind of people that Carimne works with. And so again, I just want to make everybody aware of that. But and also, there are two other great resources that are available for students. At the United States Patent and Trademark Office, uspto.org, there are kids pages that have all kinds of wonderful information about inventions and patenting, and they're for teachers. And this, by the way, is just coming up July 19th through the 23rd. The National Summer Teachers Institute will be held virtually by the USPTO. If you go to the USPTO website, it's not too late to register for it. And they will have 5 days of sessions on innovation, STEM, and IP protection. So it'd be a great, it's a great resource that the USPTO offers every year now for educators. And of course, because of the pandemic, they're doing it virtually this year. That's the bad news, but the good news is it does open it up much wider. I mean, there's a limitation if you do it in person to the number that can participate. So I would bring that to everybody's attention. And then finally, the World Intellectual Property Organization, which is a United Nations organization headquartered in Geneva, and the National Academy of Inventors is an associate member. They also have extensive material directed towards young inventors available on their website, wipo.org. So there's a lot out there that's available to provide support for young inventors and for those who are their teachers, their educators. So I urge everybody to take advantage of those.
Hey, Richard, real quick, explain a little bit about the colleges that you have involved in the NIA, and then also just some of the numbers. And when you talk about patents and trademarks and things like that, or IP protection, I don't think that some of our listeners might realize the sheer numbers that you guys are talking about when you talk about patents and trademarks and things in that sense.
Well, yeah, of course, the patent office just issued the 11 millionth patent, and the office gets close to 1 million patent applications from all over the world every year. Within the National Academy Inventor, obviously, we have all of the major universities in the country are members at this time. And in terms of nonprofit or research organizations, the Pasteur Institute in France, the National Institute of Health are members of our organization. So we have, I think the last time that I looked, we have over 200 member institutions that are part of the Academy. And at our annual conference this year, which will be our 10th anniversary conference, and we're planning on a lot of exciting things for that, November 1st through the 3rd. And it is going to be in person. It'll be available virtually, but we are going to do it in person in Tampa this year. But we'll be inducting 2 classes, because we missed last year, 300 new fellows of the Academy. And many of them are also have received the National Medal of Technology and Innovation, which is presented every year by the President of the United States. They are Nobel Prize laureates. They are members of the National Inventors Hall of Fame. So it's really a prestigious group of people. And I think when we do the 300 fellows, we must be getting close now to over 3,000 fellows that we've inducted over the years, I think, over the last 10 years. So again, there's just a lot that is going on that's very important in terms of, it's research that leads to patented technology. And of course, for universities, many of the universities, like the University of California system, much of its endowment is based on the licensing of their patented products. It's a big generator of revenue for universities. Now,
a lot of universities are always doing research and development and taking products to market. Can you give an average of a year, an average yearly of patents that are put into the USPO by one of these universities? Like how many patents?
By how many? We just issued our top 100. I wish I would have checked that.
I mean, is it 100? Is it 5?
Sure. Oh, no. I'm sure it's definitely in the thousands, I would say. I know I know for the independent inventor community, we always estimated about 15% of the patents that issue every year, and it's usually in 300,000 or more, come from the independent. In other words, they're not assigned to a corporation or any other institution. 15%. I would say probably off the top of my head, I would say about 20% would come from colleges and universities.
Wow. So it's comfortable to say one university could have put in 3,000 or 4,000 patents?
Could have put in applications, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Of course, the dependency depends. Now, of course, the key is what percentage of those become successful and are licensed and in the marketplace. And it's less than 5%. It's less than 5%. The other thing, by the way, I want to touch on in the discussion that you were having about products going to market and how do they do that. I will tell you, when we used to every year do the National Inventors Hall of Fame induction ceremony that I was involved with, and we'd introduce the living members, and without fail, the inventor that got the greatest round of applause, even more than Wozniak. Well, Wozniak may have done it the one time he showed up. but was Patsy Sherman. You know what Patsy Sherman's invention was?
Yeah.
Scotch Guard. Scotch Guard. And it's, talk about a product that always resonated with people. So,
I met her. I met her that year. I was at the gallery that year.
oh, for gosh sakes.
Another fan favorite of mine was Dr. James West. Do you
Oh
recall?
yeah, Jim West. Incidentally, I'm sorry, that's who I was talking about in terms of the electric microphone.
No, I know.
He's just fabulous. He's
know
a great
why?
man.
Do
Great
you
man.
know why? In all of my years of going up to the induction up in Akron, and I was there the year was, and the various different years, and Dr. Wilson Great Batch and whatnot.
Right.
But Dr. West, the first thing he said when he took the stage is, "I could not have done this without my wife and family." And in the only, I've probably attended maybe 14 inductions over time. And in all of the ones I'd attended, which is not all, he was the only person who took the stage, and immediately hats off to his, because it is not an easy road, the family of an inventor.
Mm.
And he had his wife stand up, and I thought that is and he spoke to my students many times, but that was really the other part of inventing, is the family and the people behind them. They're kind of quirky people, like,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's a hard thing.
Well, Wilson Great Batch, I mean, there's a wonderful story, a typical garage inventor, the pacemaker. And he says, well, I gave my wife the money and whatever, and I said, I'm going to my garage and I'm not coming out till I develop this idea that he had, which he got from watching the signs on the roads when there's construction with the light going like that. That was the thing that led to that idea. And incidentally, I happen to have a pacemaker. So thank you, Dr. Greatbatch. But yeah, Jim West, Jim and his wife and are actually good friends of mine. And the Hall of Fame is not doing another induction until I think next spring. And of course, they now do it in Washington, D.C. But he's
that's right, Washington, right?
Yeah, but he's the one that told me the story about his grandfather, and I think it was a telephone he was taking apart. He ends up working for Bell Labs, of course, and he's still active, still inventing.
And he's also one who gives back to youth, because the programs that I had were youth, and the year that Brandon Whale from Pittsburgh got inducted on the youth level for PaceMate, which was an adjunct to the pacemaker, he actually received his award from Dr. Greatbatch on the stage, and Brandon is in his 30s, and they still routinely, it's lifelong relationships.
Yeah.
Generous.
He's an inductee that they don't all do this, but he's not as wealthy as some inventors I know, but in terms of what he has given back.
He's given time.
Oh yeah. And I can tell you, he's the one, when we went to the Advertising Council in New York and pitched finally successfully to do an advertising campaign directed to tweens, to get particularly young girls to say, gee, do science and math and technology. He's the one that sold them on that. And this was, he went, he was talking about going to China. And when he went to China, he said, in China, I was treated like a rock star. It was a big deal. And he's a tremendous man. Yeah, but thank you for mentioning that. That's great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to going back. It's kind of like old home week. You go back and meet the inventors. Yeah.
Richard,
All
thank
right,
you very much.
I think we're out of time.
Oh.
Yeah, we have the next presenter who is ready to go. So thank you very much for presenting
Appreciate it. Thank you,
the
Carmine.
National Academy of Inventors,
Thanks,
and
guys.
thank you, Carmine, as well.
Richard, thank you. It's wonderful.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, thanks.